Good morning, YouTube. In a desperate attempt to recapture the magic of my first Soviet tool video, I've decided to get myself several impacted kidney stones so I can make this trip to the emergency room, score some morphine and Dilaudid plus whatever else is in this IV. I'm looped up, phone is fully charged. Let's see what I can find on Ukrainian eBay. Set filters for fun. Merry Christmas, YouTube. I know it's the dog days of summer still, but it'll be December before you know it, and I am just too excited to wait. This is not Dad Christmas, where I buy myself some cool tools or boomsticks. This is little kid Christmas. I've bought myself two irresistibly cool-looking Soviet space-age toys for my spoiled capitalist crotch fruit to enjoy. Oh, good. I hate when I get foreign goodies packaged in boring old bubble wrap. I don't know what book these pages come from, but it must not have been very good. This is the part of the video where I generalize an entire culture based on one experience. Ukrainians don't like books. The f*** happened to this squirrel? Chernobyl? I've lived in North America my entire life, and I never seen this squirrel before. This squirrel killed a hedgehog and clearly fashioned a suit of armor out of its hide and is now using it to fight a Cape Cobra.
Fucking stereotypes. A simple life adds pleasure to itself. A woman's skin will not be deprived of what she needs for her boyfriend. She will notice how she looks at herself in the first hour after meeting. It's not uncommon for everyday meals to become so overwhelming that a woman wasted on herself, forgetting about those that she should and those that she really wants. How will women ever be deprived of food for their man?
I've bought this superb little remote control moon rover for the 6-year-old. You may be asking yourself, why does this look nothing like a real moon rover? Well, first, it's a toy. And second, the Soviets never made it to them. I also got this atomic ray gun thing for the 3-year-old, which doesn't work. With shipping, I paid $360 for these two. My Eastern European viewers like to comment making fun of me for spending so much money on what usually turns out to be complete junk. Stuff they say they wouldn't pay one Ukrainian hryvnia for. Listen, let me explain something corny and paradoxical about us Americans. We don't travel much to outside countries, statistically. A lot of us don't even have passports. Mine expired 7 years ago. I didn't even notice. We live in a hugely diverse country. We can visit the desert, majestic frozen mountaintops, tropical rainforests, Caribbean beaches, and massive urban hellscapes without ever scanning a passport. Sure, we'll take a European trip occasionally, but usually only to the touristy parts. What's contradictory is we're also immensely curious about people from other cultures. If you visit us from another country, you're likely to get blasted with questions. What part of England are you from? Oh, I love Ireland. Tell me what it's like.
So, are you Chinese or Japanese?
As someone raised in the 90s by boomers, nowhere was more mysterious than the Soviet Union. Children aged 4 to 10. I'm sure it's fine. He's a very mature 2-year-old. The Soviet Union might as well have been the moon, so it's worth it to me to be ripped off by Ukrainians and Lithuanians on eBay to get a window inside that world. I mean, moon rocks sell for over $50 a gram. It's just a freaking pebble. But it's from the moon, don't you get it? I'm having trouble translating the price and the date of manufacturer. It's just formatted strangely. Any help? The trigger mechanism seems jammed, and I think I see the problem. The shaft that this gear spins on is captured on this side, but slipping out of the other side. There, can you see? It's walked out and popped off its track. So I have to push that back in somehow. I mean, it's gotta have to come apart somehow. I only see 2 screws. One here on the grip, and one here on what you'd call it, the receiver. You hear that noise? That's the noise of old plastic, almost, but not quite, breaking. These gears are really cool. They're hooked up to absolutely nothing and serve no purpose other than to look cool. Oddly American in spirit. Looks like the barrel is epoxied on. That's never coming off. I might have to get invasive. Seems right to use Soviet tools to fix my Soviet toys. This drill has been sitting on my cold, wet garage floor for months, covered in cobwebs and shop dust. Being Soviet, it'll run like but it will run. This is stupid. I need a pilot hole. Some of you might be asking why I used a 220 volt drill to put a tiny hole through a couple millimeters of plastic when I could have just melted through it with the soldering iron. The answer to that question, as is the case with most of life's questions, is shut up, Dad. It makes sparkles. Turn off the workshop lights, please.
Okay.
Uh-oh. The pin walked back out. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, but the nail that sticks out gets hammered. There's a lot of cool touches in here that I was not expecting in a Soviet toy. I just kind of assumed that kids in the later years of the USSR had to play with rocks and sticks, which is ignorant of me, but also, the 2 things my American boys love more than anything is playing with rocks and sticks. Just look, it's got these colorful gears that do nothing but look cool. It's got a transparent gearbox that spins this big flint wheel thing on a flywheel, makes sparks. It's broken again. Plus this clock escapement wheel thing that actuates this spring that activates this spring-loaded hammer that rings this little metal bell. This could have been sold in the US in the 60s or 70s and fit right in the shelves of our capitalist toy stores. Quality isn't awesome, but it's as good as American toys of the era, and it works. Ish. I can't just give my 2-year-old a nail to keep pushing that pin back in. I'm gonna have to fix this properly. which means... Oh, it hurts. Nothing a bottle of cyanoacrylate can't fix. Here's the mechanism. Makes me hungry for Kraft mac and cheese. Oh, this fell off. Toys are useless if they don't make annoying noises. One tab? Two tabs? This drum seems to be structurally significant. See that? Obvious problem, obscure solution. I'm just going to try to deform the pin enough so that it can't fit through that gear anymore. What I actually did was just bend the crap out of it, but this may be a solution in itself. Oh yeah. Call it Lieutenant Dan, because that pin ain't walking anymore. Till the end of the movie, anyway. We'll see. Now comes the fun part. Reinstalling a bunch of tiny interlocking components in a fixed metal cage. I'd love to show you this entire process, but there's way too much cursing involved. And this is a video for children. Shit. Pew, pew, pew! Let's see what happens if I put more pressure on that flint. Cool. But I'm just going to wear it out prematurely. My wife generally disapproves of our kids playing with toy guns, but I think I can get a pass if my Patreon supporters paid for it. Consider becoming one, so my boys and I can continue exploiting that marital loophole to take apart and play with all kinds of ill-advised stuff. Speaking of which, it's like a T-34, but in space. Ages 5 to 12 years, so this will be perfect for the 6-year-old. Merry Christmas, moi malchik. It goes forward, backwards, right, and obviously, being Soviet, left. It uses A343 batteries, but C's should conform. Conqueror of the Polish. What? Let that process for a second. Kharkov planet, that makes more sense. Price was 14 rubles, which is way less than $1 US, even with 40 years of inflation tacked on. If anyone lived in the USSR during this time, I'd love to hear how much that really was, relative to salaries and cost of living. Like, how long did you have to save up to buy one of these for your kid? Look at this damn thing. This is so freaking cool. It even sounds like an old tank. Accessories. It's got an antenna, despite not being radio controlled. I put my eye out with that one. Here's a satellite dish for communicating with Moscow. Not really sure how it attaches. Stand by. Here's the thing about men. Like my pre-2014 childhood hero and fellow Philadelphian said, we are dumb, but we are not so dumb. Well, that's just going to put someone's eye out. Pass. Next, we'll take a look at the battery compartment. Most likely going to have to Dremel off a bunch of green death from it being stored with the batteries in it since the wall came down. Huh. I'll be damned. Clean as a whistle. Which means either someone really cared for this thing, or they never used it. If you can think of a safer way to open these super sharp blister packs, I'm all ears. Can't forget the comms. It's alive! Oh man, I could probably fix that squeak with some Tri-Flow, but it's just so damn authentic. I'm gonna leave it. Interesting. So the buttons control the treads on the opposite side, which is the inverse of how my other favoriteest remote-controlled toy works, the Tyco RC Jackknife. The Jackknife didn't come with working lights and a satellite dish, though. I love how hollow it is. All the motor and gear train noise just reverberates like an echo chamber. Is it cheap design or a cool feature? I think, most likely, yes. You can do it, comrades. Дорога в космос советская. Either there's a limited slip clutch, or something is worn and slipping. Good to know it comes with its own toe strap. I think if you want to drive straight, you're better off toggling left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. You know I'm not going to give this to my son without taking it apart first to see what's inside. Being Soviet, it's either going to be horrifyingly sketchy or stunningly, gorgeously unique. Very rarely anything in between. Here are the independent motor gearbox assemblies, with 100 wires, 97 of them being white. Some serious slippage, either by design or by age and poor quality. Either way, I'm going to have to rectify that. The rubber tracks don't seem to have any dry rot or stiffness. And look at the way the suspension articulates. This thing is super cool. I would have bet your lunch this was a vintage American toy, except for all the Cyrillic gobbledygook written all over it. Here we've got a resistor bank. One resistor for each light bulb. Not sure why. They're not LEDs. I guess the extra voltage drop makes them last longer at the expense of brightness in an economy where spare parts may be hard to come by, I guess. They just look like flashlight bulbs to me. headlight bulb doesn't seem to work. It's not making good contact with the socket. We can fix that. Remember this old beauty? Still putting in work. Glare. Let's check the voltage to the working lights and see what it's supposed to do. And now we'll hook it up to the front light. Nichivo. I've got one of these Cobb LEDs from those used to be free Harbor Freight blue puck lights. It's a perfect fit, and it's already got current limiting resistors installed. That'll do, pig. Now that the important modifications have been made, let's pop out these gearboxes and see if we can fix that slippage. Just a little clip here. And out she comes. Looks like that final blue gear is the culprit. It's pretty typical in a gear reduction gearbox because it's the one with the most torque on it. The best thing about taking things like this apart on YouTube is I can never forget how it went back together. Got a permanent record. Gonna clean up some of the old grease with a little bit of denatured alcohol. Good for cleaning, not so much for drinking. Then once it's all clean, a little more cyanoacrylate. Another little modification I'm going to make, it's just a matter of personal preference. I'm going to swap the motor wires so that the buttons activate the track on the same side. Just more intuitive for me. Of course, being DC motors, if I get them backwards, the motors are going to spin backwards. So I got a 25% chance of getting this right and a 0% chance of getting this right. Look at the cool pink and white colors in the molded plastic. Looks like a strawberry cream saver. Used to be able to buy those in the stores. Now you gotta get them online.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
It's a yellow thing.
What? I love it.
Isn't that cool looking?
Yeah, but...
Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Ow! Ow! Get it off, get it off. Get it off and pinched. No, not back over it. Ow!
Okay, let's see if this works. Like my finger. Wait, I have to poop. Back in the U.S., back in the U.S., back in the USSR.
You have your mother's weak hands.